Hey guys, welcome in, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Tonight we're gonna be talking about a case that doesn't just make you sad; it does make you feel uncomfortable. 2-year-old Genesis Nova Reid is missing. This is her on my screen. Reported missing in the early hours around 3 a.m. on the 16th. By her mother, Adrienne Reid. A toddler gone. Now, on the surface, that alone is heartbreaking. But as details started coming out, something has changed, something has shifted. Because investigators later stated may not have been seen for several weeks before she was reported missing. Several weeks. And that's where the questions begin. How does a 2-year-old go unseen for weeks? Why report her missing at 3 a.m. on that specific night? What exactly changed that morning? Now, let me be clear, this is an active investigation. No one has, well, as of right now, no one has been charged of harming Genesis, but her mother, Adrienne Reid, has been charged with false reporting, which means police believe some part of the information given wasn't accurate. But this is an ongoing, active investigation. But false reporting is not the same as a charge for harming a child. Still, it raises eyebrows because when it comes to missing children, timeline matters, details matter, and inconsistencies matter. Sorry, guys. I've been having a headache for almost 24 hours, so I'm drinking some coffee to see if it goes away. So, as a mother, I just can't imagine waking up and not knowing where my child is. I would be in the street. I would be knocking on doors. I would be tearing my house apart. I would be just going crazy because imagine a 2-year old, just 2 little years old, missing. So when a story shifts, when neighbors, you know, say they haven't seen her in weeks, when police mention whether another woman named Mariah who may have some information, it forces us to slow down and ask what really happened here. Is this a tragic misunderstanding? Is this panic under pressure? Or is there something deeper that hasn't been revealed yet? So tonight we're going to be talking, we're going to walk and talk through everything that's been publicly reported. We're going to break down the timeline. We're going to talk about what doesn't add up and what might. But we're also going to be, I want to show awareness to this case. Everybody needs to know about this case, especially in her area, because at the center of all this is a 2-year-old child who deserves answers, you know? So stay with me because the deeper we look at this timeline, the more complicated it becomes. Why did it take so long? She just literally earlier this week says that the baby was missing. But then when cops go around and start asking neighbors, and you know, supposedly she hasn't been seen since after Christmas. So that's almost 2 months that a 2-year-old little girl has been missing. What about the family members? Why weren't they questioning where was Genesis? Why the father has been trying to see the child, but why wasn't there more of a, you know, why wasn't he more into, getting, wanting to see the child? This is a very sad case, you know. The timeline is not matching. Something just isn't right. Something just isn't right. So, since the report, investigators have made statements that have raised serious questions about the timeline. So, before we start, like I said, this is an active investigation. Um, so, around 3 a.m. on Monday, Adrienne Reid says she checked on Genesis. She claims Genesis was not in her bed. She reported that the front door was open. The front door of the home was open. She contacted authorities. Now, if you woke up at 3 a.m. and your child wasn't in bed, what would your first be? I know I would freaking go crazy. I know for a fact my heart would start beating. I would start looking all over the house, under like every bed, in the closets, in the bathtub, just everywhere, everywhere. Because usually when a 2-year-old gets up from their bed, they go into your bed, you know? And hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, subscribe. This story is about Genesis Reid, 2-year-old that went missing. It was just reported earlier this week, and unfortunately, there's claims that she might have been missing for way longer than that. Her mother has been charged with making a false statement. And unfortunately, little Genesis Reid is still missing. So I know, would you check the whole house? I know I would. Would check the cameras, would call neighbors, and I will call the authorities immediately. Immediately. What would you guys do? If your 2-year-old, you wake up at 3 a.m. and your 2-year-old little girl was gone. So this is where Adrienne Reid becomes central again, because police later stated that after interviewing multiple individuals, they believe Genesis may not have been seen for several weeks prior to the missing report. And that directly conflicts with that 3 a.m., the urgency of the 3 a.m. disappearance. Because you guys know, when a child goes missing, every minute counts, every moment counts, every detail counts. And, you already know what I'm thinking. Did she do something to that little girl? Allegedly, everything I say here is based on research and, for education and entertainment purposes. Everything I say is my opinion only, and it is allegedly. And sorry, I'm a little bit like out of it today because I have a migraine, but because this is a important case, I did not want to reschedule. So yeah. So I have a whole bunch of pressure, but anyway, that directly conflicts with this 3 a.m. disappearance. You know, neighbors reportedly said they haven't seen Genesis in weeks. Some said since Christmas. Police did not confirm exact last sighting date publicly, but this does not mean Adrian harmed her child. It means police believe the timeline provided may not match other witness accounts, you know. But how does a 2-year-old go unseen for weeks in a neighborhood and nobody say anything? This is such a sad story, you know? Such a sad story. I'm going to see if I find a report about
Breaking news, a 3-year-old little girl, Genesis Reid, missing from Enterprise, Alabama. Enterprise, where is that? Enterprise is near Hey Cody. It is near Op. I'm trying to give you a good connection.
so here's everybody knows Nancy Grace. So I'm just going to, I have to pause it in between. But this is the story that she breaks down of the missing.
Along the panhandle, veering toward Florida. A 3-year-old little girl missing, Genesis Reid. Not only that, Jacob Pritchett, an autistic boy just 11 years old, is missing out of Brooklyn. His mom says,
you guys know I also spoke about, if you don't know, I also spoke about Jacob Pritchett a few months ago, and he's still missing.
he never existed. Really? Then why do you have his name tattooed on your body, woman? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. Straight out to Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter. I want to start with the little 3-year-old girl, Genesis Reid, out of Enterprise, Alabama. First of all, where's Enterprise? Explain. I'm sure you'll do a better job than I did.
Well, actually, it's you mentioned the Panhandle of Florida. If you're going from the beach, like Panama City Beach, to Montgomery, Alabama, it's a halfway point. Very southern part of Alabama, northern Florida, in that general vicinity. Enterprise, Alabama.
What a beautiful, beautiful little girl. Like, why would anybody want to do anything of harm to that little girl? Look how cute. Oh my goodness. Some people just don't deserve to be parents. And, this story definitely needs to be shared. We need to find out, where is Genesis? What happened to Genesis? Unfortunately, I'm thinking the worst, but, you never know. But Unfortunately, I am thinking the worst because of everything we've been seeing lately when kids go missing.
Not a big city, but you mentioned Op and other areas. It's it's called the Wiregrass area in the state. But Nancy, we have a 3-year-old, okay, that mom says she woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, her toddler is gone, and the front door is open. We've heard this before in other stories. I don't know what her mother, Adrienne Reid, expects us to believe, but she claims in a 911 call that she woke up, baby's missing. Now, she said that she wasn't in her bed, but other reports are that Adrienne slept with Genesis in the same bed. So we've got to get that squared away. But right now, Genesis Reid missing at 3 years old.
Enterprise, Alabama police desperately searching for Genesis Nova Reid, turning 3 next month. The toddler reported missing Monday when her mom wakes in the early morning hours to find Genesis's bed empty and the front door open. Neighbors fear Genesis missing longer, having last seen her more than a month ago. Genesis, light-skinned African-American with black hair and brown eyes, 2 feet 5 inches tall, 30 pounds, last seen wearing pink Minnie Mouse pajamas. Anyone with info, call Enterprise PD at 334-347-2222.
There's so much to the story. The father has been trying to see the little girl.
Now joining us, in addition
The
to Dave
mother kept making excuses. It's just truly, truly sad. It's truly, truly sad, you know? And if Nancy Grace is talking about it, you know there's something going on.
from Crime Stories, a real expert in finding missing people. It's Brian Fitzgibbons. He is Director of Operations, USPA Nationwide Security. He leads a team of investigators that go worldwide trying to find missing people. He is at uspasecurity.com. Brian, thank you for being with us. Brian, I don't like it. It stinks. You know why it stinks? For many reasons. But first of all, neighbors state they have not seen Genesis Reid in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the most concerning piece here. And neighbors have also reported that they would consistently see the mother with Genesis. So prior to a month ago, they were seeing them all the time. And now that she's reported missing, we learned that they haven't seen her in over a month. One thing that did jump off the page here, this isn't like a house that she walked out of. This is an apartment building where a complex where you've got a number of neighbors, not a huge wooded area near it. There's a lot of houses and residences all around Apache Drive. So it's very unlikely that this was a wandered off into the woods scenario.
Why is filing your taxes with Free Tax USA?
When she woke up this morning at 3 a.m., that's when she noted the child was missing. We have not stopped since 3 a.m. this morning. During the morning hours, we completed a number of searches of the area in close proximity to the residents here.
That is Captain Billy Haglund joining us from Enterprise, and that's from our friends at Wiregrass Daily News. Back to the facts. To Dave Mack, I understand that she was last seen wearing Minnie Mouse PJs.
Well, that's the story that we're being given. But the reality, Nancy, is that Genesis had a regular routine with her mom. They would walk around the apartment complex. It was a regular thing, walking every day. Family and friends around there had other children playing with Genesis. And all of a sudden, around Christmas time, it stopped. They haven't seen Genesis and Adrienne, her mother, walking around the apartment complex together. And when they were questioned, we're talking about people who live with them in the same apartment complex. And I don't want to say anything bad. She's a friend of mine, but I haven't seen this child since Christmas. So
Wow. Look how little she is. Did you see that wooded area to the right of that photo? She could be anywhere in there. She might be in there, but they were searching that wooded area and they haven't found anything yet. But this case is just really, really sad, you know. Hey, super sis, how are you? You know, 2 years old, about to be 3 years old, gone missing. Her mother just reported her missing Monday, and now everything is pointing towards the little girl has been missing way longer than that, about 2 months now. Oh, well, almost 2 months, because they said after Christmas, since about Christmas. So this is a very sad story.
So reporting her missing now, we're talking 6 or 8 weeks, Nancy.
You know, you're right. There are neighbors that state they have not seen Genesis since Christmas.
Wow, Shibby Super, you haven't heard about this little girl? And I've been seeing it in a lot of places, but see, this is the reason why I talk about certain cases, because people might not know. And, you know, I wish there was more people in here today. I usually don't come on this early, but I know there's a lot of things going to be going on later on, so I wanted to come on now. But I hope that this does get shared and people actually see this, because more people need to know about the little girl that's gone missing.
Others put it at a few weeks, but I think I can understand the discrepancy there. Neighbors that associate with the mom and the baby, maybe next door neighbors or little playmate moms, see her more often and would realize she's been missing for longer. So I noticed another discrepancy, and I want to ask you about that. Dave Mack, some reports state the mom noticed she was missing when she went to go check in her bed and Genesis's bed. Other reports say they slept together. What do we know?
Well, we know exactly that we're getting 2 separate stories about where this child sleeps. And again, a 3-year-old that normally sleeps with mom. And
that's what I was saying. I said most 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, even though you put them in your bed, where do they land up in the middle of the night most of the time? In your bed. Am I right? My freaking Jackson is almost 6 years old. He's 5.5 years old. And although he starts in his bed, where does he end up? In my bed, right next to me. And he's almost 6 years old. So this story is just, it's already weird, you know, that people are saying they haven't seen this baby since Christmas. And then the mom says that she got missing at 3 a.m. on Monday, that the door to the house was open. Yeah, something's not adding up. Something's definitely not adding up.
maybe that's the truth of the matter. But again, we're getting both these stories that she had her own bed she slept in, or
Wait, why did it start? Sorry, guys. I don't know why it started.
she regularly sleeps with mom, because she's told both stories so far.
Let me reload it, because why did it start getting feedback all of a sudden?
Her bed and
Again, 6 or 8 weeks, Nancy, with them.
discrepancy there. Neighbors that associate with the mom and the baby.
No, this is not
The apartment complex, it was a regular
Understand the discrepancy.
from mom, Nancy. So which one do you want to believe? That she had her own bed she slept in?
No, I don't know what's going on there. But here's an update. Let me share this. Here's an update from the let's hear what they have.
Staff of every division of the
Oh, no.
remains engaged in the investigation as the lead agency. The father,
Something's
Genesis,
going on with
other
my
family members, and those that knew Genesis were contacted through the investigation and have been very cooperative with law enforcement. Mariah, a person of interest but not a suspect, was generated through Adrian, who gave very little to no assistance in how to contact Mariah. We again ask the public to include Mariah. If you know who this might be, please come forward and share your information. Our ultimate goal
Sorry, guys. I've I keep having to mute it and I forgot to unmute it. So yeah, I was saying that the mom is being falsely accused. I mean, not falsely accused. She's being charged with making false reports. And why would a mother lie? What would she lie about? If something didn't happen. And those of us that watch stories like this, we already know basically what happened. I know deep in my heart, unfortunately, we already know the outcome to this situation. Even though, the authorities have to find evidence to formally charge her, NYC at night, this is what happens. Siren after sirens at this time of night. But anyway, sorry guys. But unfortunately, some people that watch things like this, we already know. Because if Genesis was somewhere else with a family member or something like that, Adrian would be able to just go get her, right? So the fact that Genesis is still missing, that says a lot, That says a lot, more than words could say. The actions, Now, whether, yeah, YouTube has been acting up. Ugh. But yeah, was it what's gonna come down to it? Was it an accident? The mother got scared, whatever. Where is Genesis and what happened to Genesis? They looked in that wooded area. They haven't found anything. Now they're saying that some lady, Mariah, might have some information, so that now they're looking for this Mariah. But is Mariah a made-up person to try to throw the case off? Where is Genesis? Look how cute, beautiful this little girl is. So beautiful. Like, why would anybody want to do harm a little girl like that? Like, I know double twos. I know these kids can get you a little crazy and stuff like that, but not so much that you want to harm them, So the police have asked the public for help identifying or locating the woman named Mariah, who they say may have some information. But who is Mariah? Is she a friend of Adrian? Was she a babysitter? Was she a relative? Someone connected to the timeline? They're not saying who this Mariah is. And although authorities have not yet publicly accused Adrian of harming Genesis, they are saying there are many inconsistencies and they are looking for additional information. If someone else had Genesis, why wait weeks to report missing? Why wait weeks to report her missing? If the mom knew that somebody else had her. There's too many inconsistencies here, and this just doesn't sound right. It definitely sounds like, unfortunately, something happened to Genesis. And, at this point, we need to find her. They need to find her, there's still many people looking for Genesis, you know, and this is just a really sad story. And although, like I said, it's allegedly, but with all these inconsistencies, it just doesn't sound right, you know? Something bit me. Ugh. Last week I looked up how many kids go missing. 2,300 kids every day. I was completely blown away. Yes. It's crazy. Not, and the sad part is when a family member does it, you know? And a lot of kids also go missing with these games. You know, they start talking to people within the app. They think they made a friend and they go missing. But unfortunately, a lot of these stories lately are family members, you know, and the people closest to them that they should have been able to trust, you know, like in this case. She's only been with her mother. Her father has been trying to see her. And, you know, the mother was always making excuses. And now, out of nowhere, she finally makes a, you know, missing report. But now all these inconsistencies are showing up, you know? I did want to show some more videos, but unfortunately, let me see. It's, I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, my feedback. I have feedback, so I don't want to play that. But yeah. So now we're gonna go a little deeper, you know, without attacking anybody because we don't know what really happened. You know, we could always think, but you know, is she protecting someone that hurt her child? Did she hurt her child? These are all questions everybody's asking, you know. And as a mother, imagine being in a situation where something happened, accidental or otherwise, and you panic, you know. Maybe you pushed, you know, maybe she was doing something, she annoyed you, you pushed her, you know, by mistake, and something happened. Would you panic? Would you call the authorities? You just never know what happened, you know? But why do people lie, you know, when they're under pressure? Why just not tell the truth? It's just beyond crazy. And I'm just wondering where Genesis is. Because it's just sad, you know? Neighbors haven't seen her since Christmas. That changes everything, you know? It just sad. And then Adrian making that false report, that is serious, you know? That means investigators believe information given was knowingly inaccurate. Now, why would someone give inaccurate information in a missing child case, especially your own child? The possible reason: panic, fear, you know, protecting someone, something happened earlier and they were scared, you know, to admit what they did, or trying to buy time, maybe. Something definitely happened and we're not being told the truth. And that's, you know, that's just sad. As a mom, if my child is missing, I'm going to be hysterical. I'm going to be screaming. I'm going to be outside barefoot, running all over the place, that they probably going to have to call, you know, somebody on me. I'm knocking on every door. I'm gonna want the authorities to knock on every door, look inside everybody's house, whatever they have to do. So I need to understand, what was the energy when Genesis was reported missing? I'm not judging, I'm just asking, because as a mom, I would not be okay. I would not be able to be calm, you know? And because of all the inconsistencies, yeah, nobody's getting sleep until my child comes home. That's right. Nobody. Yeah, people are definitely sick. It's sad when I don't know why people have kids if they can't deal with it. It's not always gonna be all calm, and there's gonna be chaos when you have kids. That's just the truth of the matter. So the internet has already decided Adrienne Reid is guilty, but police have not charged her with harming Genesis. But why would you falsely report something? And if your child was missing for longer than that, why wouldn't you report her missing as soon as it happened? You know? I know that if it was me, I would be all over the place, and that's why I'm glad that the authorities, they see the bigger picture. They're seeing the inconsistencies, and not only that, but the community surrounding her is trying to help, look for Genesis. But unfortunately, I just can't see that there's going to be a good outcome, because usually when a little girl, especially 2 years old, goes missing for that long, unseen, unheard of for this long, usually we already know that outcome. Damn, tonight is busy out there. I don't know what's going on. I keep muting it because sirens keep passing. Today is a busy Wednesday, it sounds like. But yeah, it's just sad. And I just really wanted to, bring this case up because this is definitely sad. And look, you already said you haven't heard about this. So imagine how many others have not heard about this. So social media, when it comes to drama and things like that, of course people are interested and they want to know everything that's going on. But when it's a serious case like this, people are not, they're not really interested in it, and that's sad. But as a mother, of course I want to bring a story like this to the forefront, because I think it's very important for people to know, especially if they're in that area of Alabama, so they could be on the lookout. I don't know if this Mariah lady is real, but if she is real and she knows any information, I don't know why they're being so secretive of who Mariah is, what she has to do with this case. Who is she? Is she a family friend? Is she a babysitter? Like, why are they being so secretive of who this person is? I mean, maybe the authorities are being quiet because the more people that know about some things, they can mess up the case. So I that part. But when it comes to a child, there's no time. Like, you don't have no time. You're wasting time. We need to find out what happened to Genesis one way or another, and if her mom did something allegedly, we need to know, you know, and she needs to be charged with what she did, you know. So hopefully at this point, I don't know, because she isn't being charged with anything like that. I don't know if they're able to, look into her house or whatever. Maybe they need a warrant or some sort to really look for evidence. But this happened Monday, so it's already a full 24 hours. 48 hours. So who knows what she hid by now, But you guys saw that area in the that I showed earlier. The surrounding area is pretty big. There was plenty of wooded area that she could have gone in if she did go on her own. It's a big wooded area that somebody could hide somebody, and of course I don't think that they're gonna put her somewhere that she could be found right away. So I hope that they're really looking into that wooded area, like even deep into it, because at this point it's just scary, And there was a video showing that the authorities were searching the wooded area, but they haven't found anything yet. But falsely reporting definitely points to something happened, but it does not equal a murder charge, So we can't say that she did anything yet, but these inconsistencies for me, are definitely painting a different picture. Now, where was Genesis for the past several weeks? Who last physically saw her? Was there a daycare? Was there a doctor visit? Are there store cameras? Are there cameras within the neighborhood? Phone records, text messages? Somebody has to know. Somebody has to know something. There has to be some kind of evidence showing or, telling a story about what happened to Genesis. If the timeline shifts, that's significant. Now, we all know that there's only a few possible scenarios. Genesis left the house at night. Genesis was somewhere else before that night. Something happened earlier, and that's what I'm thinking, that something happened earlier, way earlier, since nobody has seen her since Christmas. And the timeline definitely has changed. It's not just 48 hours or so that she's been missing. She's been missing way longer. And there might be information that the police are holding back because, police they can't tell the public everything that's going on, because then that can mess up their investigation. Yeah, hopefully the truth will come out, I don't know which one is true, but it's one of them, one of them is true. Genesis left that house at 3 a.m. or before 3 a.m. or something terrible happened to her in the weeks prior to Monday, February 16th.
I make 32.
I really wish that the
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
My video was working. I wanted to show the update from the cops too. Let me see. I did have a few screens open.
6, 7, 8. Okay. Okay. 36. Okay, this is.
Shh.
I'm making 36 today.
Okay, but be quiet.
And Tom's going to 100.
Brief delayed investigation responded to assist. The full staff of every division of the Enterprise Police Department remains engaged in the investigation as the lead agency. The father of Genesis, grandmother, other family members, and those that knew Genesis were contacted through the investigation and have been very cooperative with law enforcement. Mariah,
Jackson.
a person of interest but not a suspect, was generated through Adrian, who gave very little to no assistance in how to contact Mariah. We again ask the public to include Mariah. If you know who this might be, please come forward and share your information. Our ultimate goal is to safely reunite this child with the people who love her and are committed to her care and well-being. Although we are still investigating the whereabouts of Genesis, we are confident that Adrian made a false report that Genesis walked out of the apartment at 3 a.m. in the morning. Through the investigation, there's enough probable cause that has led to the arrest of Adrian.
Okay.
Can you hear that? Or is it too much feedback?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Adrian Reid has been charged with false reporting to local law enforcement authorities, a Class C felony due to the report alleging imminent danger to a person. This is the beginning of a long investigation, and the agencies involved and our community will not rest until Genesis is returned home. Finally, and unfortunately, we have to address the spread of misinformation surrounding this case. We understand the public wants immediate answers, but speculation and unverified claims circulating on social media are not only inaccurate, they can actively interfere with an ongoing investigation. Individuals presenting opinions as facts and not involved in this case do not have access to verified information. We urge the community to recognize the difference between confirmed updates and online speculation. If anyone has legitimate information that assists the investigators, we strongly encourage them to sensationalized post-Genesis home. Credible facts and cooperation do. These individuals may be chasing attention and online validation, but their actions do nothing to advance the real mission, bringing Genesis home safely, and only risk distracting from the work that truly matters. Our shared focus must remain on supporting the investigation and protecting its integrity so we can achieve the goal of returning her home safely. We will continue providing regular updates within the limits of what we can share, recognizing that protecting the integrity of this investigation and any further prosecution is essential. Our priority is and will remain bringing this child home safely, ensuring justice is served based on facts. The Enterprise Police Department is the only official source of accurate, verified information regarding this case. We urge the public to rely solely on updates released by our department to ensure that they receive facts, not speculation or misinformation. So at this time, we can answer many questions.
So this is like sad, you know. The police, as of today, the police are still, you know, looking for her. There's intensive search efforts for Genesis. Her mother, Adrian, remains detained and is being held without bond on a felony of false reporting um, related to the circumstances of the missing person call. Police are still seeking information about the woman named Mariah. Local news coverage shows the press conference with the news updates, which I just showed. Also, they have deployed the cadaver dogs in searches around the child's home. And a record search shows actually returned reports that Adrian Reid has a previous domestic violence incident in her record, which local coverage notes as background while authorities continue to search. Police do warn that they are against any unverified social media speculation, urging tips to be reported directly, but they have to be accurate, and even minor details may help the investigation. So, unfortunately, as of today, the 18th, Genesis has not been located and no confirmed sightings have been publicly verified since her disappearance.
Certainly, again, this is still an act.
We may.
I'm gonna skip over
Doubt or say, hey, we've looked there. We had a huge team come in. They conducted a grid search, and they didn't report anything back. So that's where we're at with that.
So they did have a big search and nothing yet.
Right now, she will be charged with that Class C felony. It will be placed on a status where she has to have an initial appearance and see a judge. So right now, there is not a bond. I will tell you that our office has requested with the judge's office, District Judge Josh Wilson, that we be present at that hearing, whether it be virtual or in person. We will be making arguments for an increased bond outside of the recognized bond for a Class C felony based on the.
While she's in there, I hope, if something did happen, I hope that she feels guilty enough to just admit it, I hope. And this is just my opinion, nothing, I'm not saying that she did anything, but if she did, I really hope that she feels guilty enough to admit it. Wow, that's sad. That is really sad. Wow, but the father got 50 years and still won't talk. That's wow. That is so, yeah. And unfortunately is usually the parents, it's at the hands of the parent that something happened. And in this case, it's so far it's looking like that, because who's Mariah? They still haven't figured that out yet. We don't know who Mariah is. Man, no matter what, even if somebody else, it was the mother's duty to report exactly when the child went missing or if something happened to the child, So if anybody has any tips, make sure you call that number. If you watch the replay, the number is provided. And we definitely, I hope that Genesis is found one way or another, One way or another, we have to find out what happened to Genesis.
One, two, three, four, five, six.
I want to see this one real quick.
One, two, three, four, five,
and all of the fingers are pointing directly towards mom, even though mom was the one that reported her missing yesterday, saying that she went to her bedroom and she had vanished and her door was wide open. But the dad and the neighbors are saying that that is absolutely not correct and giving a lot of details that leads people to believe that the mom had something to do with this child going missing. And on top of that, there's already been allegedly something found around the apartment that leads people to believe that this is not going to end well. One of the neighbors even went on Facebook Live, and let me tell you, I have some of the screen recordings, and it is wild. And I myself believe that the math is not mathing on what this mom is telling police. Now, according to neighbors, this is the grandma, this is the uncle, and this guy right here is the father. And allegedly, according to this Facebook Live and the neighbors, the mom had texted the dad on February 4th saying that she was going to be filing a missing persons report on their daughter. This missing persons report was not filed until yesterday, saying that she vanished from her room overnight. Neighbors are also saying,
so February 4th, she texted the father and didn't report anything till 12 days later. What the F is going on?
that they have not seen the little girl Genesis since January, potentially even December, saying that one of the neighbors was walking through the grocery store, saw the mom, asked where she was, and the mom said, and I quote, "I don't know." That was on Valentine's Day, the 14th. Another neighbor said that she used to walk Genesis all the time and she used to play with this neighbor's child, but the mom has not been walking with her, nor has she played with her children in quite some time. The page Vibe Moments and More are where a lot of these Facebook Live recordings have come from and this alleged evidence. Because according to neighbors, someone took this picture saying the mattress that was found in the woods, and I don't even know to tell you what that looks like. Part 2, I'm going to play you some of this Facebook Live video footage so we can hear directly from the neighbors what is going on. This 2-year-old is missing out of Alabama.
So, wow, Oh, brother. Yeah, that's definitely crazy. But that mattress did look old. I'm going to say that. So, I'm not going to say that mattress was from, it was from what happened to her, but because we can't speculate lies. And if the, authorities thought that was something, I'm sure they would have put that into evidence. But it's just a sad story altogether. So, reported missing on the 16th, text the father February 4th saying that she was gonna, make a missing person report. 12 days later, she finally made the report. But if February 4th came and went, why didn't the father do the report? He had the right to make the report. He hadn't seen his child. She wasn't letting him. Why not do a wellness check? Why not call somebody? Why not make any reports? Like, this is just crazy altogether. I really don't think that the dad has something to do with it, but the fact that almost 2 weeks before this initial report on Monday, he knew that his child was missing and no report was made. What? Come on now. As soon as my, the other parent would tell me that they're about to do a missing person report, I would be like, I'm coming with you. Like, what's going on? There's no excuse, you know? Yeah, and it's definitely crazy. It's definitely crazy. But there is a hotline for anybody to call with any tips and updates. They are still, you know, a search for Genesis. And this is just a sad, sad story, you know? This is definitely a sad story. On her own, did somebody take her? Did something happen? We won't know until we keep, you know, watching everything that pops up. And I know the police are not gonna let us know everything, you know. They are things that they have to keep to themselves to not hurt the investigation. But I know I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on this case, because something got to give. There has to be either Genesis has to be found, or if something happened to her, we definitely have to know. And there has to be justice for Genesis. You know, at the end of the day, whether it's Adrian Reid or someone else, you know, there is a 2-year-old child that's missing. You know, whatever the truth is, it needs to come out. As a mom, this is so heavy. It's so heavy, you know? So if you know anything, please contact Enterprise Police Department, because we need to find her. We need to know what's going on. I feel so sad, and, you know, it's just so sad. I want to put her back on the screen. I just want to put her back on the screen to at least close out with her on the screen. So anybody in that area can keep an eye out, you know, regardless of the outcome. Hi, Landon. So beautiful, beautiful little girl is missing out of Enterprise, Alabama. This is her. She is believed to be in danger. She's 2, almost 3. You know, she is 2 feet 5 inches, 30 pounds. She's reported missing as of February 16th, but neighbors have said that they haven't seen her since Christmas. Her mother is detained right now and being held without bond for false report, which is a felony. She was last known to be wearing pink Minnie Mouse pajamas, but with all the inconsistencies, we just don't know what happened. So please like, share, subscribe. Definitely share more than anything. We need to know what happened to Genesis. We need to know, was her mom involved? We need to know who's this Mariah lady that they're looking for. Was she involved? Is she involved, or is she just named to throw off the whole investigation? But most importantly, we just want to know what happened to Genesis one way or another. In my heart, I'm fearing the worst, because what 2-year-old goes missing for this long without nobody knowing her whereabouts? Family members, daycares, babysitters, schools, neighbors. No one has seen her in almost 2 months. February 4th, she texts dad saying that she was going to make a missing persons report. So that's already 2 weeks, that she's been missing, basically. And then to wait until the 16th to actually make the report. This is just horrible, And unfortunately, she is innocent until proven guilty. But I just hope one way or another we get justice for Genesis. And I will definitely keep, everybody updated. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for passing by. Thank you everybody who watches the replay. Like I said, please share, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think of this. Thank you, Shibi Super. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for watching. And I hope they bring this baby home.
Look, Mommy, I put the overwhelm.
Catch you guys on the next one.
Mommy.